Today, we have a story of adventure. Fortunes won and lost many times over. An epic hunt led by the likes of Buffalo Bill Cody and Civil War hero General Sheridan. 2 brothers and 1 enigmatic rifle. Lawrence and Leonard Jerome were enterprising New Yorkers in the 1840s, owning and running a pretty prestigious newspaper, the Rochester Daily American. They were the youngest 2 of 12 brothers and sisters. So, like anybody from a large family, liked to be seen, and eventually became socialites in the New York nightlife. The brothers were very close, and eventually ended up marrying sisters, the extremely wealthy Hall sisters. In 1850, both couples moved to New York City. They began making their fortune by running a telegraph company, but also by throwing their hat into the ring of Wall Street. Part of the reason they did so well in the stock market was due to their private and elite dining hall right outside of Wall Street. They hosted, and some say, influenced some of the elite writers of the time in the financial sector, as well as business owners alike. After they parlayed their influential connections into millions, they retired and did what most aristocratic men did at the time, participated in sport and politics. Leonard, the more prominent and younger of the 2 brothers, was dubbed the King of Wall Street. And after his retirement, he was appointed to the Council of the Port of Trieste by his friend and confidant Millard Fillmore. He even ran a Gatling gun at the New York Times, in which he was partial owner during the New York draft riots. He would eventually become known as the maternal grandfather of Prime Minister and statesman Winston Churchill. Lawrence, after retirement, decided to dip his finger into the political world as well. He became an alderman and sat on the board of supervisors for the county of New York. But after a failed congressional run, he decided to truly retire and be a socialite and sportsman. His lineage is also very interesting. His middle son, Lieutenant Lovell Hall Jerome, won the Medal of Honor after the siege and storm on Muddy Creek in Montana. One of the more notable stories is he was actually captured by the Nez Perce, and General Nelson Miles himself had to exchange Chief Joseph for Lieutenant Jerome. In the summer of 1870, General Sheridan went to go visit his former commander and now president, Ulysses S. Grant. In his head, he dreamed up this epic hunt where he took the social and financial elite of the Union North on an amazing trip through the West. Him and a bunch of his friends got together, they created a list, and of course, the Jerome brothers were on there. He even brought Buffalo Bill Cody as the chief guide and scout. Later on, Buffalo Bill Cody would coin this trip the Millionaire's Hunting Party. These well-outfitted, wealthy hunters would take a 7-day train ride to Fort McPherson, but they stopped over in Chicago for a couple days for sightseeing and for a live pigeon shoot. When they arrived in Fort McPherson, General Sheridan had a huge parade for them, and then they were taken from their luscious confines of their beautiful trains to a wall tent city to get ready for the epic ride starting the next morning. Though this was a luxurious hunt, it wasn't for the faint of heart. It was going to be over 194 miles from Fort McPherson, Nebraska to Fort Hays, Kansas, all by horseback. The full resources of the U.S. Army were at Sheridan's disposal. In fact, he took over 100 cavalrymen to escort these hunters through the American West. He wanted to make sure that they were going to have no trouble with hostile Indians. They had 4 ambulances just to carry their belongings and firearms, including 4 greyhounds for coursing antelope, and a little bit of extra room in case one of the guys needed an extra nap and couldn't finish the day's ride. Another 16 heavy wagons pulled by mules carried the rest of the belongings and tents, including 1 wagon just for ice. Sheridan stated that a hunter's drink will never be without ice. The plains were filled with game at this time, And when the hunt concluded, 100 buffalo, 75 plus turkey, 10 elk, 10 antelope, 25 ducks, 20 plus fish, 5 deer per hunter, as well as prairie dog, rabbit, and coyote were taken. Most of the hunters used fine English double rifles and shotguns on the hunt. And that's where this comes into play. This beautiful E.M. Riley double rifle was presented from Leonard Jerome to his older brother, Lawrence Jerome, as it's inscribed on the trigger guard. Now, this gun tells an epic story of the hunt, but the gun alone is beautiful, with beautiful walnut Damascus barrels. It's chambered in 500 450 Express. It has Henry patent rifling, which is exceedingly prominent. It has leaf sights that are exquisitely engraved, one fixed at 100 yards, and the second leaf at 200 yards. The gun has exquisite scroll engraving, which was popular at the time in England. The trigger guard is inscribed Lawrence R. Jerome, New York. The silver oval escutcheon behind the sling swivel is inscribed LRJ from LWJ, 1871. There's a really amusing story about Lawrence Jerome and this rifle as he was going after a buffalo. As it states in Davies' book, 10 Days on the Plains, Jerome, again, who wasn't a fantastic hunter, rode up real close to the buffalo, this mammoth behemoth of a buffalo, to get a close shot. As he rode close to the buffalo, he drops his rifle. As he stops the horse, gets off, and to take careful aim, the horse takes off. And he becomes the man without a horse. If that wasn't bad enough, when he got back to camp, the guys had staged a mock court-martial. Jerome was charged with the crime of aiding and abetting the loss of a government horse and for having something to do with the mysterious disappearance of a Colt pistol. He was also charged for snoring in a manner that was regarded as fiendish and committed a variety of less offensive charges too numerous to mention. Jerome's rebuttal was, "I didn't lose the horse. The horse lost me." It makes me smile to think about these magnates of industry, these financial barons sitting around a fire, giving each other a hard time, just like I would with my hunting buddies. Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "Every man dies 2 deaths. The day he's buried in the ground, and the last time somebody says his name. In some ways, a man can be immortal." And this Western safari artifact, in a way, makes Leonard and Lawrence's names immortal. It's more than just an artifact from a true Western safari. It's more than just a gift from one brother to the next. In a way, this rifle solidifies the Jeromes and the lavish millionaire's hunt in history. From the eyes of Buffalo Bill Cody and General Sheridan to the hands of the Jerome brothers, this rifle can continue its odyssey in your collection and is only available right here at Rock Island Auction Company.